Good morning again, everyone. The American author Stephen Covey, in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, famously said this, that the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Isn't it so easy in life to forget what the main thing is? We get lost in all of the challenges we face each day. Well, he said these words about people, but it also applies to organizations of every kind, even to the church, even to parishes, even to our parish. And of all the main things about which people can be busy, I believe that the main thing of the church is the most important mission in the world. Today we celebrate the Feast of the Ascension. It marks the 40th day since the resurrection, when Jesus ascended to the Father. Now, normally, if you're good at math, 40 days was Thursday, but we're very practical in Canada, so this feast day gets bumped to the nearest Sunday. So Jesus returns to the Father. And before he goes, he gives his followers their marching orders. He gives the church its mission. He commissions them to be busy doing the main thing. And this commission is known as the Great Commission. And we just heard it in the gospel reading today. Jesus said, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything that I commanded you." These are the last earthly words of Jesus, his instructions to the church. This is our main thing. But even within this Great Commission, if you look closely, there are different tasks. There's the command to go, the command to make disciples, the command to baptize, and to teach. And yet, even within these 4 tasks, one of these is the main thing. Because at the heart of the Great Commission is the task to make disciples. That's the heart of the matter. All the other tasks depend on that and revolve around it. The task to make disciples. That is the main thing. Now, what is a disciple? I mean, if we're supposed to make them, what is one? Well, the word disciple in the original language literally means a learner or a student. The disciples often referred to Jesus as rabbi, which means teacher. And at that time, it was not uncommon for rabbis to have a group of students who gathered around them, who lived with them and traveled with them. So Jesus is the teacher. So we're called to help people come to know Jesus, to become followers of Jesus, to become friends of Jesus, to come into relationship with Jesus. And that begins when we help people to encounter him and to learn about him, from him, to be in relationship with him, not just to learn information about Jesus, but to get to know Jesus himself. I mean, this is why as a parish we use tools like Alpha to help people encounter Jesus and come to know him and come to love him. You know, we're not going to be disciples, followers of Jesus, friends of Jesus, unless we actually come to love Jesus. Then we become disciples. And being a disciple is a lifelong task. I've been trying to seriously follow Jesus since I was about 18 years of age. That was 20 years ago. What are you laughing about? I've been trying to seriously follow. I've been trying to be a disciple for a long time. I'm not very good at it, but I'm trying. That's what our mission is, to make disciples of all people. Now, this weekend is the 3rd week of our annual preaching series on the topic of giving. Giving, that's right. So if you're here today as a visitor, you lucked out. It's your lucky day. You're getting the giving homily, the last of the 3. Now, 2 weeks ago, I shared with parishioners some of the challenges we face as a parish as we move into the future. I shared that for the last 2 years, we've had deficits, and this coming year we've budgeted another deficit, that we're struggling financially. But there's a lot of hope, because as we move into the future, we're bringing down our costs as we manage our buildings, and our income is going up. In fact, I didn't know this 2 weeks ago, but a comparison of Sunday income, January to March this year compared to this time last year, has gone up 18%. I mean, it's amazing. That's absolutely fantastic. So we're moving in the right direction. Our weekend numbers are going up. You know, for the last month, our Sunday attendance has been, on average, about 650 people. So in spite of our challenges, things are pointing in the right direction. And folks, we just need to keep on going. We just need to keep moving in this direction. You know, in speaking with a few people about these challenges, not a few people came and said to me, Father James, why don't you try this? Why don't you just tell us, you know, what's the cost? And then figure out how many people belong to our church and just divide it up. Just divide it and tell us how much the bill is. In a sense, it's almost like, you know, when you go to a restaurant and you share and you split the bill. It sounds fair, doesn't it? What do you think? Is that a good way to do it? No, that's the right answer. But I'll tell you why. There's 2 reasons why I don't believe this is the right thing to do. Why there's a problem with this approach. And the first problem is this, like, what is God calling us to do? To pay bills or to be about the mission of Jesus? What do you think? It's a trick question. We're called to do both. I mean, we got to pay the bills, right? But what is the cost that we're addressing? Is it the cost of minimal existence? Or is it the cost of this mission of Jesus, which is expansive? It's open-ended. You know, the more resources we have, the bigger our impact can be for the kingdom of God. You know, the more eggs we have, the bigger the omelet we can make. I'd love us to make a huge omelet. So the bigger an impact we can have. You know, this is a far cry from simply saying, well, how much do we need to fix the roof? Or how much do we need to keep our churches moderately warm? Or how much do we need to pay the light bill? A year and a half ago, our parish pastoral council discerned our parish purpose statement. And it says this, that our purpose is to make joyful disciples of Jesus. There's the main thing. To make joyful disciples of Jesus who form a community that overflows with faith and charity. It's not the same thing as paying the bills. And we believe that if we are faithful to this purpose, that over time, our vision, our dream will be achieved. And our vision, our dream for our parish is that we will become the heart of Dartmouth. That's our vision. To be a community that is the heart of Dartmouth, that is known as the heart of Dartmouth. So the second problem with the restaurant approach is that it's basically a poll tax. You know what a poll tax is? It's just basically a flat rate that everyone pays. Like buying a ticket for the cinema. The problem with poll taxes is that they have a disproportionate impact on those with fewer resources. Also, it's not biblical. Last week, Deacon David drew out some biblical principles around giving. And one of those principles is proportionality. Giving in the scriptures is always proportional. The value of our gift is not based on the number of zeros on our tax receipts, but our gift is valued in proportion to what we have. That's all the babies agreeing with me, by the way. Splitting the bill ignores the question of proportion. We give according to our means. Almost 2,000 years ago, St. Paul addressed this. Don't worry about the kids. They were fine. They were agreeing with my homily. They were good. 2,000 years ago, St. Paul wrote to the Corinthians. He was talking about a collection. And he said that they should take up this collection in a way so that, he says, your eagerness may be matched by completing it according to your means. For if the eagerness is there, the gift is acceptable according to what one has. This is the point. The gift is always according to what you have. Proportionality is the measure of our gift to God. It's why in the church we don't simply split the bill. So then, if that's not what we should do, what should we do? Well, I'd like to invite you to consider 3 things. Number 1, to do the math. You see, we need to know where our starting point is. And when I say do the math, I'm inviting us to calculate the percentage of our household income that we presently give to all charities, not just to the parish, but to all charities. What percentage of household income do we actually give away? Are we aware? Do we know those numbers? Now, I was a little late this year, but I just completed my taxes this week. And I did the math. I gathered all my tax receipts, all my charitable donations, and I did the math. Doing the math helps us to see where we presently are. So that's step 1. Step 2 is to pray, because when it comes to giving, it's a spiritual reality. We need to take this to the Lord. We need our decisions to be inspired by prayer, not to make them under compulsion or from feelings of guilt. We need to ask the Lord for the grace of generosity and to be able to trust. And I want to say that, not necessarily in this parish, but over the years when I've spoken on this topic, sometimes people get, a little displeased. And if listening to this homily is displeasing you this morning, go pray about it. You need to talk to God about that, because these ideas are not my ideas. The idea of generosity. So we need to take this to the Lord and pray about it. So the third thing is an invitation to take a step, to take one simple step. See, growing in generosity is like working out and growing a muscle. We do it gradually. We make incremental changes over time. And I would like to offer you 7 possible steps. And I'm offering you 7 steps because, you see, we're all in very different places when it comes to our faith journey, with our connection to this parish, our commitment to this parish. We're in different places spiritually. And my invitation is simply to say that one of these steps may apply to you. Okay? So here's the first step: to give something. So perhaps you've been coming to church, or you're new to the parish, and you don't give at all. And I'm not judging you, because I used to be that guy. I didn't start giving to the church until, I'm really embarrassed to say this actually, I didn't give to the church until after I was ordained a priest, because somehow I decided it didn't apply to me. Even though I got my first job at the age of 16, I was a cook at the Wise Road Kentucky Fried Chicken. And by the way, if you ate Kentucky Fried Chicken from Wise Road between 1985 and 1989 on a Friday night, I cooked it. I made money. I had my first job, but I didn't give any of it away. It was all for me. So maybe that's a step we can take just to begin giving something. The next step is to be intentional. Sometimes, we can come to church, we can give, but it's not planned. We haven't really made a decision. It's kind of like whatever's in my pocket at the time. It's not intentional. We're not actually making a commitment. But I'm going to tell you this. Well, we know this from our lives. When we commit to something, it changes the experience, doesn't it? It changes the whole thing, because we're literally buying into something. And so maybe a step for you is to start using envelopes. Those are little envelopes where we put our offering in. And the other benefit of using envelopes, of being intentional, is that we can register as givers. And you get this thing, it's really cool, you get this thing called a tax receipt. Does anyone here pay taxes? 3 or 4 people? Okay. You know, sometimes people say, well, I don't give in order to get a tax receipt. I don't need a tax receipt. It's like, fair enough. But if you get a tax receipt and you get a tax break, you can put more in the collection. Who would you rather give your money to Jesus or to Justin? So, another step is to sign up for automated giving. Now, this is the way that I give to the parish. We're used to this now. We do it in all kinds of situations in our lives where the money is automatically withdrawn from our bank account. It's very easy to do it. Here's the thing. From the parish perspective, this is a game changer because it provides stability. I mean, it's not uncommon that if we have a weekend where there's a snowstorm, our parish collection might drop 30%. This weekend, because of the marathon, we're going to take a financial hit because of the marathon. So when we have more people signed up for automated giving, it just provides stability to the parish. You know, between 2021 and 2022, the number of households in our parish using automated giving increased from 38 to 44%. And I would love this year for us to cross the halfway mark. That would be amazing. So we have these authorization forms. They're in the pews. You can get them at the welcome desk. Please consider picking one up. And by the way, I'll just say this. Sometimes people are hesitant to do this because when the collection basket comes, we feel kind of awkward, like, I'm not putting anything in. And well, that's why we have these little cards. You see, if you're on automated giving, you grab one of these cards and you put it in the collection. And this isn't just about, you know, making sure people don't think ill of you. This is a tangible way to express the offering because what we give to God is part of our worship, right? It's part of the sacrifice that we make in our worship. That's why something tangible is really important. You can get these at the entrance to the church. Another step that some of us may be able to make is to increase our giving by 1%. So if you've done the math, if you've got a sense of what we presently give to the parish, maybe we can increase our giving by 1% of household income. That may be a step that some of us can take. Another step is to try tithing. Now, tithing is based in the scriptures, and the word tithe comes from the word tenth. It's a tenth of everything. And basically, the understanding is that everything we've received is from God. Everything is from God. And God says, let's make a deal. I'm going to give you everything, and you just have to give away 10%. Well, I started tithing about 17 years ago. It took me quite a while to get there. I went there slowly, but I've been doing it for 17 years. And I have to say it's been an incredible blessing. I would never go back. And it's like every single year, I get a chunk of money that I get to give away. Because my starting attitude is, this is not my money, this is God's money, and I get to decide how I'm going to give it away. And usually I would give 5% towards the mission of the parish and 5% to other charities. I did my tax return this week, and I realized that this year I gave 75% to the parish. I thought that was interesting. I must trust the leadership, I guess. But that's up to us how we distribute that 10%. So maybe tithing is something God might be calling you to try out. And then some people give beyond tithing. We actually do have a number of families who actually contribute in a way that supports several pastoral initiatives. Some people have the capacity to do that. Some people have the calling to do that. And if that's you, I'd love to talk to you. Another final step is what is called legacy giving. And legacy giving, of course, has to do with our estate planning, about our wills, and there are many different ways that you can bless the mission of the parish. And by the way, I'm choosing my language very carefully here when I say we give to the mission of the parish. Because think about this, if you think I'm giving to the parish, Well, you are the parish, right? You are the parish. We together, including myself, we give towards the mission of the parish. And if you'd like to talk about ways that you can plan your wills around blessing the parish, which many parishioners have done for years, we would love to talk to you as well. So, take a step. 7 steps. We're all in different places, and one of these steps may apply to you. Do the math, pray, and consider taking a step in faith. When we take such steps in faith, we will be closer as a parish to truly making the main thing the main thing. Fulfilling Jesus' command to us to go and make disciples of all nations. And the more we do this, the closer we will be to becoming the heart of Dartmouth.